Good afternoon to all of you. So in our last class we are discussing about Plato. We started with Plato. Now I am repeating Plato because yesterday I have just gave you a general introduction. As you know that he is a leading thinker of Greek tradition. He is a leading thinker of Greek tradition. Now most important point that why Plato emerged as a thinker, or I say why Plato has decided to go for certain philosophies, what was the reason of his philosophy, and then we will talk about what is his philosophy is and what is the implication of his philosophy, what is the implication of his philosophy. As I was talking about, if you go with the background of the Plato, so Plato was belonging to the elite class of his own time. In fact, he was very much associated with royal families or those who are working in administration directly. So he was also trained for, or he was getting training for to be part and parcel of the political system, maybe from the ruling class or some other kind of responsibility has been assigned to him. Now everything has been changed, and the one incident that has completely changed about line of thinking of Plato was death of his own master Socrates. Now when Socrates died, Plato started thinking a person like Socrates, who is considered to be a very holding knowledge, why such person has been given death sentence? Why such person has been given death sentence? And he arrived on this conclusion. It is rulers who is mainly responsible for such kind of activity. Then he started thinking beyond his own city state, and he identified there is a general condition, there is general declined political system in the entire Greek, and it is not only Socrates, there are a lot of such incidents are happening around us. And now he has decided to come for a philosophy. He come up for a philosophy which can provide a basis for establishment of ideal state. Is it clear? Now you can understand what was the reason why he was come into the field of philosophy, having a background of the politics. He was getting trained to be engaged in the political system, but at the last phase of his life, joining the system, he completely make a U-turn, and the only reason was that Socrates has been given death sentence. And he started realizing how come such a knowledgeable person will be given death sentence. Or Socrates को क्यों दिया गया था? Why he has been given? So he has been accused of actually treason. He has been accused for demeaning the gods of the Greek. Now how it was, like he was going among to the people and asking for them to raise a question against the political establishment. So when he started saying all these things, the ruler caste started feeling because the divine theory was popular at that time, because the kings are representative of the gods. So they started propagating the idea going for such kind of activities in the state is demeaning the Greek gods, and it led to the punishment that was death sentence. Now once the death sentence has been given, Plato started thinking what was the root cause of the death sentence, and he finally identified it is the ruler class was not wise enough, was not competent enough, was not capable enough to rule this country. And it is because then he started checking all around, and he found similar conditions happening in all Greek lands, and then he come up with the philosophy. Then he's come up with a philosophy. The main target of his philosophy is to establish ideal state. He just want to establish ideal state. And how an ideal state could be established, how an ideal state could be established, the rest of the things what we studied yesterday, like theorem of justice, theory of education, communism of property and wives, he has given. But he also come up with a philosophical base, philosophical base of state. इसको थोड़ा ध्यान सुनिएगा. philosophical base of state, philosophical base of state, आप इसको लिख सकते हो हेडिंग में, Plato's philosophical base of state, philosophical base of Plato's philosophical base of state. Don't write anything apart from this heading. Now what he was doing, he want to establish the idea कि those people who are knowledgeable, so the biggest question was that how to identify who is knowledgeable, what is knowledge, how to identify what is knowledge, because lot of person, those who are ruling, they will also claim that they are knowledgeable, they have all the knowledge of the politics. So how you can establish, or how you can reject all the existing knowledge and you can establish a new knowledge. So what he did, that he provided a philosophy to understand the things. So he created two things. पहले इसको समझिएगा फिर हम इसे लिखेंगे. He said that there is idea and there is reality. There is idea, there is reality. Now understand idea and reality. Again, what I am saying, it is just to make you understand. If I ask this question to you, idea is first or matter is first? Reality, what you can see, what you can sense. What is the first? It is the idea or the matter? Okay, this is a long debate between Hegel and Marx and Plato and rest of the thinkers. I'll take this debate later on. But he was portraying that thing, कि what we witness here, what we sense through our organs is not a real, Understand this point. It is not real. It is basically reflection of idea. Okay, he made a statement. Reality is reflection of idea. Reality is reflection of idea. Now, how it is? Reality, how reality could be a reflection of idea? If you see this light, if you see this laptop, if you see chairs, then isn't it real? Then how we say, yeah, they are just the reflection of the ideas. Now, he explained it in a very different way. He says, look, there is a basic idea. This idea is permanent. And it remain intact and forever. It never change. It reflections which get shape is basically what we sense. Point is that if I say chair, suppose I am saying chair. So chair has two specific things. One is the idea of the chair and the other is the reflection of chair. Okay, if I say there are 100 types of chair, so which chair is a real chair? You can find this is also a chair, you are sitting, this is also a chair. Which one is the real chair? Or what is common between both? Idea of chair. What is common between the both? Idea of chair. It means that chair has a basic idea. I am just making you understand this point. Okay, there should be a place where people can sit down. Suppose this. And it should be, it's not about shape. it should be having legs, maybe 2, 3, 4, 1, whatever. Now, this is what the idea is. Following this idea, there could be 1,000 of the shapes in the different. Is it possible? So, his argument was that this idea is real. What you see in reality, it is merely the reflection of the idea. Okay, let us talk about beautiful. Can you identify what is beautiful? There could be 1,000 of the beautiful things, but what is common among all those 1,000 things? The idea of the beauty, which is remain one, and its reflection will be in multiple ways. So, what he was trying to say, what we see today in the modern world, or at that time, what we see, it is just the reflection of the reality. Because the idea is real. I am using the word ideal is real. Can you understand this? Ideal is real, and what you see is as a real is basically the reflection of ideas only. So, the real is actually that idea, and rest of the things are just merely reflection of the reality, merely reflection of the reality. And his argument is that if a person who is eligible to understand and know this idea would have knowledge, he will understand, look, what I am seeing is this all around, it is merely reflection. Suppose somebody believes, okay, this is the only chair, or he made his concept around this idea of the chair. So, maybe he will get another chair, he might enter into the argument and debate, this is not the chair, this is the only chair. Now, the person who has an idea, okay, what is the idea of chair? So, whenever he say the 1,000 number of the chairs, he can identify, okay, this is all chairs. So, the Plato was telling that we can find that a person who is considered to be a knowledgeful person with having the knowledge of ideas, having the knowledge of ideas. That is why he is known as philosopher. He is known as a person who believe in the action of thinking. हम इसको बाद में भी पढ़ेंगे. There is a people who believe in action of thinking and who believe in action of acting. So, he was the one who believed in the philosophy of thinking. He is the one who believed in the philosophy of thinking. From this concept, he has given a famous concept that is known as, उसका topic लिखिएगा, that is known as reality is the shadow of ideas. Reality is the shadow of ideas. Reality is shadow of idea. Okay, you get a question, just directly explain what is reality or what is the meaning of reality is the shadow of idea. There could be another question, same, ideal is real. Meaning of the both and explanation of both is same. Now, I will tell you what will be the structure for this answer. Reality is the shadow of idea, or idea is real, it is having the same meaning. Do not write anything, just put the heading, reality is the shadow of idea. Now, in order to explain this, reality is the shadow of idea, he has given a famous, what you say, a concept of, have you heard about the concept of, there is a famous concept of caves. He has given the famous concept of caves, allegory of caves. It is just to understand what is this allegory of caves. मैं पहले इसको explain कर रहा हूँ. What he is explaining is just to explain the same thing. What he says कि there are few peoples are tied in chains and there is a complete darkness, they cannot see each other and there is a light behind, because of that there is shadow of these people on the wall. Now they are talking to each other, as they cannot see anyone else, what their understanding is, this shadow is speaking to me, and he is not able to see his own shadow, he is able to see the shadow of the others, and other person is able to see the shadow of yours. So everyone is thinking this shadow is talking to us. Now his argument is that as the shadow is the reflection of the reality, I mean the person is the reality and this shadow is just the reflection of that. So if you live, this is in abstract format, this is something projection, he is saying if people remain in the darkness, so they do not understand what is the reality, they are simply understanding this shadow is reality. Once they are free from the chain and they come out from the caves, then they see themselves in the light and they realize, and others in the lights and they realize this is what the reality. Here his comparison is this light is all about knowledge. When the people gain the knowledge, then only they can understand, what is reality, and rest of the people only see the shadow, they see only the reflection of the ideas. It is not actually the reality, So his argument is that people should look forward to gain that idea, to know about them, rather than focusing and being limited on the reality. And now he is pushing his agenda easily. Those who are living in the world, more worried about the day-to-day life, they are actually focusing on the reflections of the reality, or you can say the reflection of the ideal thing. So we should allow those people to rule, those who hold the knowledge of the idea. Then only we can find an ideal state. Now application part of this one, okay, how you can realize it, how you can establish justice, then he is give his entire idea. आप heading डालेंगे, reality is a shadow of idea. I guess clear है सबको what is the meaning of the reality of the shadow of ideas? Please write down. Okay. Now cave example he is giving in this way, कि there are few people who are tied inside the cave with the chains. There is a complete darkness, they cannot see each other, only their shadows are there. So actually the people are seeing the shadow of each other and they are speaking, but they are speaking, so it seems to be that the shadow is speaking. So they are confused that human being looks like that the shadow. Once they free from the chain and go outside of the cave, then they realize actually shadow is not the reality, it was merely reflection of the reality. So the human being is different. So in a similar line he is trying to say what we see today here, it is just the reflection of the reality, जिसको कि हम reality समझते हैं. What we see as a reality, it is the reflection of the reality, not actually it is real. Then what is real? Idea is real. What he is saying, what we see as a real, it is merely reflection of reality. Now agla question, then what is this reality? His argument is idea is the reality. Idea is the reality. So technically ideal is real, reality is shadow of idea, reality is shadow of idea, ideal is real or reality is shadow of idea. So he is just giving an example, basically he is just giving, this is the philosophy he proposed, and he was trying to identify that we should look forward for those rulers who are in position to differentiate, what is real and what is ideal. Those who are not stuck with the things what they are sensing, they are searching for the reality of that thing, matlab idea of that thing, not they are worried about that thing. Got my point? This is what he is talking about. Reality is the shadow of idea, or ideal is real.
So human is real as per human is real, or it is also
No, it is also a reflection of idea. What you say humanity? Okay, I am just giving you an example. Is there any difference between human being and being human? Can you identify the difference? Human being is not actually being human. When you talk about being human, you are talking about the idea of the human. Because human is human not because of the physical structure. Human is human because of the certain knowledge, certain characteristics. So, the idea of human is different, and what we see in a physical format is a different. Why we say some people are not behaving even like humans? Here the other meaning of the human is the idea of the human. So, he was trying to say that everything which exists in the world, it has an ideal format. What constituted it basically? What constituted it basically? Until unless you have a knowledge of that, you are actually, beating around the bush, you are actually knowing about the false knowledge. So, his argument is that let us choose those rulers who know about the ideals, and that could be gained only through the knowledge. And then how we talk about how we will go for knowledge. Is there clarity? Any question? Any question related to reality is shadow of idea?
first time to set the target, where we have to achieve.
Okay, he is not setting a target. He is helping you to get evolved. He is helping everyone to get evolved, and he is just making things ki if you know what is around us, don't think yourself of being knowledgeful. Suppose a person come at a place and say, I know all the geographical places, I know about the economic activity, so I am a knowledgeful. So, he is just trying to say what you see is not the real. Try to get the reality, try to understand the real knowledge. In order to get the real knowledge, so you have to imagine, or you have to think about ideals of everything, and once you reach up to that level, then you are considered to be a knowledgeful person. So, he is saying what we study in general at that time, it is just merely, do not study philosophy, they simply study about rest of the things, they are studying about the reflection of ideas. So, it is because of that sometimes they deliver or they fail to deliver justice to the people, because their own vision is very much limited, because they cannot see the reality, they can see only the reflections of the reality. So, he was just looking forward to train people for that greater ideas, and he was worried about, because most of the kings were looking for pride, glory, gold, money. You think it's such kind of greedy people, because they do not understand what is the ultimate reality, and it is because of that if you are looking forward, so their judgments are bound to be wrong. They cannot ever establish idealistic. This is what he was looking forward. Anything else? How to? Okay. Now, for this only he envisaged the entire education program to deal people, and he was also saying that everyone is not having the capacity to know about the ideas. So, let few people who are holding that capacity to be grown on that particular level. Nowadays, you are saying it is a subjective phenomena. When Plato was talking about It doesn't seem to be a subjective phenomena, because he established a methodology. Let me complete once the entire thing, then you will easily understand what he was trying to say. Please write down. Reality is the shadow of idea. Reality is the shadow of idea. Plato identified idea as an ultimate truth or a true reality, I am using the word true reality, full stop. He further explained that what we sense or know through sensory organs is just reflection of ideas or true reality. Reflection of ideas are true reality. It is not real. Next point. Idea is essence of everything. Idea is essence of everything. Essence of everything, which remain constant, permanent, and never get destroyed. Thus, it is true reality. Thus, it is true reality. Thus, it is true reality. I guess the second line what you have written is clear to everyone. Even we see this is chair, you can destroy, you can burn it. Is it real that can we burn the idea of chair? It is not. That is why he says ki this live to the eternity. So, ideas are actually the real things, because it is continue. Rest of the things what we are seeing, it is just a temporary image. So, maybe it holds the importance for the people for the certain time. So, those who have a real knowledge, they understand it is for the temporary phase. It holds a short duration of life, and this is not the reality. It is bound to change. So, we should go for search of higher knowledge. We should go for search of higher knowledge. Please write down next one. The physical world which we experience, is a temporary image. Temporary image of idea. Temporary image of idea, comma, physical manifestation of idea or true thing. Manifestation of idea or true reality, There is a difference, इसी में there is a difference between knowing and knowledge. Fact, there is a difference between knowing and knowledge. Full stop. in the physical world, हाँ इसी में, in the physical world we know, we organize facts and informations, facts and information, not knowledges, not knowledges. I guess this point is clear. So if you see something and about chair or anything, you know the physical reality of that, you might have an information about that, you might have some facts about that. But when you are considered to be having knowledge, when you have an idea of that particular thing, rest of the things will be merely fact. आपने idea किया, आपने fact कैसे इकट्ठा किया, that there will be 4 legs, there is a 1 leg, this is just merely a fact for the chair. It holds 2 hands, or its a diameter of sitting area is like this. What all this? It is mere information. It is merely fact. It is not the knowledge. Knowledge is something which is a person know about the real ideas or know about the ideas. Clarity है? देखिए मैं ये नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ आप अग्री हैं या डिसअग्री हैं, मतलब देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि ऑन सच इशू वी माइट डिसअग्री, वी माइट होल्ड different ideas. Plato was Plato and we are we. So there is a difference, but we should understand what he is trying, because हमको लिखना एग्जाम में, we have to write this thing in the examination. There is a general and direct question, reality is the shadow of idea or idea is the real. Nothing. For both of the part, answer is the same, what you have written. Okay. I believe that, now understand this, you evolve a new idea from idea, but the original idea remain constant. Got my point? The original idea remain constant. Suppose you have two ideas, you mix both of the idea and you created third idea, but the earlier idea will remain intact. You got a new one. So technically it is correct. It is permanent, it never get destroyed. The things which get destroyed, it is the reflection of this one. Now this idea, concept of idea was contested by Marx properly. He said ki no, and his logic was again a classic logic. He says, can you imagine anything which does not exist? Can you imagine anything which does not exist? तो ऐसे तो आप ऐसे भी कह सकते हैं flying any animal, but actually you know the animal, you see the flying objects, you club. Can you imagine anything which completely does not exist? It cannot be ever registered here basically. What we create, whatever the things is registered here only. So what he says that how without any materialistic thing or any material objects you can ever imagine anything. That is technically not possible. Whatever you imagine, it is because if thing get exist. So even if the idea of the chair is there, something just kind of objects there, you connected, it had a shape or something, and then you imagine the idea of the chair. It is not actually the idea, it is the object that comes first. Maybe it is get destroyed, maybe it is not permanent in nature, but the idea comes from the material thing. Look, this is a historical debate of the 100 of the years. Who is correct, who is incorrect, that is a different question. But that is true, what Marx was saying, and Marx has given, and this argument is that until unless we know that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen, water exists even before that. It was not like that when you know that the water become. So actually when you created, okay, this happened because of this, it existed. And that is why Marx argued that there is no, what we say, inventions, they are just discoveries. And using those discoveries you fix something and create a new thing what you consider it, and then he explained how things go on. In general, Plato line of argument was that it is the idea that come first, remain permanent and indestructible, and it holds the true knowledge of the thing. Whatever we see in our life, it is merely reflection of that. It is not the true idea. Continue. Plato, next point, Plato expressed his philosophy through the allegory of cave, allegory of cave, Allegory, allegory of cave. Allegory, allegory of cave. In this example, people mistakenly understands shadow as a reality. Shadow as a reality. This is the similar phenomena that happens in real life. That is the similar phenomena that happens in real life. Last point. This understanding that physical world is temporary, and the realm of ideas is permanent, is specifically crucial for the ruling class. Fine. Rulers must understand that power, wealth, glory are temporary. अब यही अंडरलाइन करिएगा. Virtue and integrity is permanent. Virtue and integrity is permanent. Full stop. So rulers must be those who holds virtue and integrity. Fine. थोड़ा अलग discussion. Look, I guess you have in general studies ethics paper, and in ethics paper Plato as a thinker has been mentioned. Now in ethics paper, Plato's contribution is basically this contribution of virtue and ethics. Now here how you are going to use in that part, basically like what is important for human being to set the ideals of his life, or what should be the achievement, what should be the way of life. It should be dominated by the material possessions, or it should be dominated by virtue and integrity. So when as a philosopher Plato and Aristotle is talking about, they are mainly focusing on the life should be dominated with the virtue and integrity rather than material pleasure. Crux आपको यही पढ़ना है ethics में. आप जहाँ से भी पढ़ेंगे, it will be in that form only कि the अब let's convert into what should be the basis of the decision of the rulers or the administrator using the same logic. Paper 4 ethics. What should be the decision making, what should be the basis of decision makers being part of the administration. So, if you go with the Aristotelian and Platonian line, they will talk about virtue and integrity should be more. Maybe when we talk about the those who are realist, they will talk about no, it should not be the virtue and maybe the integrity, it should be the material possession, maybe it is a short term, but it is the way to address the problem. There are a lot of schools are there to define that part. So, how this virtue and integrity help you in the decision making? It make you to understand that these material possessions are short, it is not permanent, and it might be fulfill your desire for the short term, but the long term which matters, it is the virtue and integrity. This much of thing you have to know for your paper 4 and ethics part basically. Chaliye, this is done. You will get a short note. Reality is the shadow of idea, or ideal is real. I guess you understand when he say ideal is real, because ideal is real matlab this ideal is true real. This is what he is saying. Ideal is true real. What you see is a real is actually a reflection of merely ideas. So, if they ask to explain this, the same answer. If they ask to explain reality is the shadow of the idea, is the same answer. What? No, definitely you can write, and any example you can give it, but you won't get that much of space to write. So, that is why I am saying ki just be precise these points, whatever you have. I mean, if the 20 marker and you have a space to write, you can give the example of being beautiful, you can give the example of chair, you can give a lot of examples. But as the time will be like the space and time will be very less, so actually you won't get. I am making all these things to you understand, because when you read and if you do not understand this philosophy, you are feeling like mugging it up. But you understand, so even you can use your own language to write it basically. That is why I am making it clear what exactly he meant when he is talking about reality is the shadow of ideas. So, now you see here the relevance of the idea of, understand, relevance of the idea. अगर आपसे यही पूछ दे, what is, पहले let me make a structure for this answer. Yesterday I told to have a loose sheet. Now this is the first question of the loose sheet. Ideal is real. Or the other question you have written, the reality is the shadow of idea. Reality is shadow of idea. Now, how you are going to structure your answer? You will talk about, this is introduction part, this is the philosophy of the Plato. This is the philosophy of the Plato based on, or this is the philosophy of the Plato with the purpose of searching for true knowledge. True knowledge is the philosophy of Plato for the purpose of searching for true knowledge. And here then you will explain why he has given this philosophy, why this his philosophy. You will talk about two incidents of death of Socrates and decline of Greek cities force him to think that rulers are incompetent, incapable. So, he tried to define knowledge, he tried to define knowledge and make it mandatory or essential for ruler class. This is your introduction point, not more than 4 to 5 lines, not more than 4 to 5 lines. Then you will explain the meaning what you have written, explain, then you explain the meaning what you have written, what is ideal is real or reality is the shadow of idea, reality is the shadow of idea. Then you will talk about application part, then you will talk about application of this philosophy is to choosing rulers, application is making decisions, application part is choosing rulers, making decisions. And in one line you will write power, glory, pride should not be the target of the rulers and it should not be the basis of activity or the decisions of the rulers. And this is how through this philosophy he started looking for those rulers who holds the real knowledge. This is going to be the structure for this. It could be in 150 words ranging up to 250 words. Till 150 word it is fine. When you enter into 250 words, then you talk about this idea or the debate, ideal is real or ideal is the idea is the reality, was well contested by Karl Marx, when the question is up to 250 words. If it is not, don't write that part. Contested by Karl Marx, who established opposite to that idea, it is the matter which is the reality and which constitutes the idea, just in 2 lines, which constitute the idea. If required, you can explain it with the examples too. So, concluding part will be that ideal is real is a one way philosophy, is just a one way, one dimension of the philosophy, and it was well contested by the materialist who believe that matter is equally important to the ideas. If the question is 250 words, maybe I am talking about 20 markers. If it is just 10 markers or 12 markers, follow this line only. Now, come back, this is the philosophical, this is the only philosophical part of Plato's theory of Plato's theory. Now, Plato was trying to say that our entire target is we should go for ideal state. देखिए वो he will be moving to that level only. His entire target is to get the ideal state. Now, again, what is ideal state? What is ideal state? So, he says ideal state where justice prevails, ideal state where justice prevail. Now, what is justice? What is justice? Now I am explaining what is justice. 2 point. इसको लिखिएगा. What is justice के नीचे? Justice is performing as per natural trait, as per natural trait. Justice is performing as per natural trait. Point 2. justice is duty. Justice is duty. Say next part. Justice is derived from virtue. Justice is derived from virtue. Justice is derived from virtue. So, I guess you understand 3 points. What he is defining, justice is derived from virtue. Justice is performing as per the natural trait, and justice is duty. Justice is duty. Now, understand the entire philosophy. What he is trying to say, every human being who is born on this earth have a combination of certain character or attribute. Look, I am just making it clear. When you say virtue and when you say attribute or a character is different. Can anybody help me? What is virtue and what is character, or what is virtue and what is attribute? If you say a person is virtuous, and a person is having certain qualities, or qualities are trainable. And quality can't be intellectual in nature. Okay. Look, in philosophical way, when you say virtue, so virtue is essentially associated with the knowledge. Now again you can ask, what is knowledge? Knowledge of what? Now his argument is that a person has a certain attribute until unless person has knowledge of that attribute, means that person is practicing if we have a knowledge. Okay, let me explain with the example, tab samajh mein aayega. Okay, when you say honesty, fine, honesty is a quality, it might be a virtue. When you read something, honesty is the best policy, but you do not have knowledge of this. So you know it merely as a fact, you know it merely as a information. But when you have a knowledge, okay, honesty is the best policy, then what do? You start practicing it in your life. The entire life of your actions will be designed around the practicing of honesty. So when he is saying honesty, when he is saying virtue, so virtue is all about knowledge of that particular quality. Then only it become a virtue. There are a lot of people who know about honesty, they know about justice, they know about we have to believe, like the classic example, equality. So if I ask that, okay, we believe in equality, but we really practice equality? Once you really believe in equality, when you have a knowledge of equality, this will reflect in each part of your behavior. Every time you will treat everybody equal, starting from family to workplace or whatever. So he was trying to say, virtue is something for which people have knowledge, and the qualities, attributes, this is something where people know about that. People know it as an information, but until unless people hold the knowledge about that, it cannot be converted into virtue. When you say virtue is knowledge, knowledge is virtue, aage aayega Aristotle mein, then you will realize this one. So his argument was that, his argument is this, only virtuous people should rule. If we make that only virtuous people should rule, it simply means that those who have knowledge of that, again the term knowledge has come, they should be allowed to rule. So here you see, he says virtue, then he says justice is duty. It become obviously duty. When you are a virtuous one, you understand, okay, this is, it has to be performed. It is not only to keep, or it is not only to know. And when he is saying that, okay, everyone should perform as per their natural trait. The three things is talking about the justice. Now, he is trying to say, he is trying to say every person who is born in this, and in this life, is having combination of three major qualities. He talk about having a three major qualities. It is not virtue at that time. Having the three major qualities, first he talk about appetite. इसको लिखते रहिए, three qualities he talk about: desire or appetite, then he talk about passion or spirit, passion or spirit, then he talk reason. I am making some clarification here. Like I have seen some book skipped this part. It is not like they have written wrong. They did not go into the details. So just they have written that there are people having these qualities separately. But what Plato was saying, that everyone is having these three qualities. Everyone is having these three qualities. But one quality is a dominant than two others. He is not saying the people is born with only reason, or people are born only with spirit, people are born only with appetite or desire. No, he is not saying this. People are born with a combination of these three. But there are certain traits which is considered to be a primary trait, or dominant trait of these three, And he is simply saying that people must perform, or play their role, or choose their duties as per their dominant character. If they go with their dominant character, so they establish justice. Again, a big question is that, on that basis, अब हम यहाँ कह रहे हैं, he talk about appetite, he talk about spirit, he talk about reason. Now, these three specific attributes create three classes. Those who have appetite, business, or trader class. Those who are holding spirit, they are warrior class or soldier class. They are warrior class or soldier class. And those who are having reasons, they are ruler class. Here is a soldier class, here is a ruler class. Now he is saying, first line, everyone is having these three characters. One is a primary and dominating character. On the basis of character, he said, in the entire society, there is a three classes exist: trader class, soldier class, and ruler class. This rural class is having a primacy of reason. The soldier class is having primacy of spirit. This trader class is having primacy of appetite. Is desire or appetite. Is it clear? Now a big question comes. When you are saying that those who have the primacy of the reason, they should be appointed as a ruler. How do we know that who is holding the reason and who is holding the appetite or who is holding the spirit? For this only, he talk about his education theory. He talk about his education theory. Now come, when it come to education theory, मैं सिर्फ इतना बता रहा हूँ. The purpose of the education theory is identification of the natural trait. The purpose of the education theory is identification of natural trait or identification of dominant trait. Identification of natural trait or identification of dominant trait. The second purpose of the education theory, to train them. Now here is the interesting part. The second part is basically training. This is very interesting. Now training helped people to get the knowledge of their trait, and once they get the knowledge of that trait, they become virtuous. So the education system or education, his theory of education, help also to become virtuous people. But again here my point is this, everyone is having three characters, and now education will help first to identify which is dominant. You know, Plato in his book has given ample of examples in his education theory how you can identify those characters. एक जगह उसका example है, when kids are there, when small kids are there at the age of 3-4 years, and now you want to identify them. So how you can identify them? So he has given a methodology. He said certain wooden logs will be inside earth, and all will be given the task to pull it out, and there will be observer who is looking forward for them what they are doing. So maybe he identified some of them are going and just see the log, and they hold the log and started using entire power just to pull it out. There might be some who see the log, understand the log, and they easily find out, okay, if you remove it from this side, it could easily get out. There could be someone who decide to cooperate, let's together we will do it basically. This was just a one experiment. 100 of the experiment in his education theory is mentioned. These are the methodologies to identify which is a dominant character. It is just one method I talk about. He said through this methodology, using this methodology, you will identify ki, okay, if this person is having appetite, if a person is having a passion, and a person is having a reason, then you start first part. First part is identification, then second part is training part. Now in training part, the first training will be together of all classes, because he firmly believes ruler class who is having a region, he should have a knowledge of everything. So the training starts of all these three classes together, and after some years of the training, there will be exam. Now again the exam will be designed in such a way which will differentiate the character of the people. So he says that who will qualify, because the paper will be designed, those who qualify, they will be again considered as they belong to first two classes. Those who won't qualify, it simply means that they belong to the trader class. So from here there will be a separate training for the trader class. A specialized training of the trader class will start. Now the rest of the two classes, again their education and training starts. Again for going for training for next few years, again there will be examination. And once, those who fail to qualify, they belong to the soldier class. And again a separate training of the soldier class will be there. And those who qualified, again their training starts. In that particular training, there will be, choosing, agar applied part mein kahun to, there will be choosing who is going to hold the administration, who is going to become the minister, and who is going to become king. And he says the person who is considered to be the most virtuous among them, that will be identified through the training only, he is going to become the king. And to king, it means that who is having knowledge, and the person is named as philosopher king. Philosopher king. This philosopher king if I say what is ideal state? Ideal state is that which is ruled by philosopher king, which is ruled by virtuous people, which is ruled by those who are having knowledge, where the justice prevail, where the justice prevail. Now when I will teach in detail about the education theory, आज ही हम पढ़ेंगे, then we will talk about what is his scheme of education. मैंने आपको short में बताया what is the scheme of the education. An interesting part is that his education is not confined towards the formal education. Even he talk about providing education related to the music, to the poetry, and you know, a kind of multidimensional education he is trying to provide to everyone. And once they identify you belong to this class, a special training program will continue for them. And this is how his education theory help to identify the different classes. Help to identify different classes. Any doubt regarding this? हाँ, spirit और soul एक ही चीज है. There are a lot of books because most of the books are secondary. प्लेटो की ओरिजिनल बुक तो हमने देखी ही नहीं है. नहीं, स्पिरिट से यहाँ से मतलब जिनके अंदर पैशन है बेसिकली. रीजन इज अ डिफरेंट. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड विद द डिफरेंट वर्ड. यूज दीस थ्री वर्ड. They talk about emotion of desire, they talk about emotion of passion, and they talk about emotion of reason. So emotion of desire matlab those who are holding appetite. Emotion of passion, those who are having spirit. Emotion of knowledge or reason, those who are holding knowledge or reason. This is what the three specific character is found. Look, here he is not denying that people are having just one character. So everyone is having all three, and he is talking about you choose primary one. Now here some twisting thing. Now is it possible that people still prefer to switch from one class to another class? Now here he is trying to say, okay, I'll say this point. Okay, suppose we are all trained and we go to the different classes, and when we started working, at any point of time we can feel to switch to the other field. We can feel to switch to the other field. In general, आपको क्या लगता है ऐसा होगा? अब point ये है क्यों होगा? Why it is going to be happen? Again, my question is that is there any possibility of getting switched from one class to another class? क्या चीज? Okay, privileges अलग अलग नहीं है. मैं इसके आगे भी चला जाता हूँ. He identified that even once you divided the class, you identify with their characters, still he find that there is a two major obstacle, and he find that one is property, and other he talk about family. So he has given a different theorem that is known as, इसको कई जगह मिलता है, communism of wives and property. So communism of property and communism of family. He believes that people might prefer to switch one group to another group because of the property. If another group is making more money or seems to be leading luxurious life, so the money could be attraction and they can switch. So understand, his theory of communism of property says the first two classes, I am talking about ruler class, are those who are having reason, इसको वो guardian class भी कहता है. This and soldier class, warrior class are those who are having spirit or passion. They should be deprived from holding property, but they must not be deprived from using the property. There is a difference. They cannot hold the property, They cannot go and draw the salary and they will make a bank balance. What they can do this, like whatever the available in the state, it will be provided to them. Now you say in this way, it is the state that will arrange to fulfill their needs, including you can talk about food, clothing, shelter. This will be all arranged by state, all arranged by state. And then again the same thing, ki family might be another diversion, so they won't be allowed to hold families. I will come in detail for both of them. They are not allowed to hold the family. But again, this not holding of the family will be allowed only for 2 class, only for 2 class. Now his argument is ki once you develop that system, people will be highly focused on his work. People will be highly focused on his work, and even they are not going to get diverted, or even they won't think to get switched to the other class. The reason being is that the reason being is that people switch their works, it is because of only with the property or the family. But what they really like to do, if they always get challenges in that, they will continue to perform the same thing, because it is their primary character to do that. If they will switch their group, if they will switch to work on some other front, neither they will be good at that, and definitely they cannot deliver justice to that point, and they cannot sustain a long term motivation to work. It is something that a person who is having a reason for the movement, he decided to become a soldier. So how long he will remain soldier? The point is that maybe some point will come where his reason will say why you are killing the people, why you are fighting with the people, and things might change. But if his reason, it is a soldier who is having a passion in his spirit, he will never think in that way. The reason being, it is always, maybe dilemma come, but the primary character or the primary attribute is always going to be win. Even if the dilemma is there between your reason and between your spirit, because your primary character is spirit. So in this dilemma, spirit will always win. So his argument is that there is a rare chance, I mean in fact there is no chance that one group will switch to another group. They will remain intact, they will remain intact in their respective field. And as second important thing, it is their dominating character. So it simply means that they are passionate about work. I am not talking about passion. It is their dominant character, they will love their work and they will be passionate about their work, and the performance will be the best one. The person who is having a reason, if he will become a agriculturalist or a businessman, then at some point of time he might get deviated, and you can say his decision might be bad. But this is not with the person who is holding the reason. He said that, this is very interesting, he said that every class is going to get the best. I mean I would say that the entire class, isko dekhte hain, these 2 class are going to get the best rulers, those who are having reason. They are going to get the best policies. At the same time, these 2 classes are going to get the best soldiers. They will be completely different, and they will find their army is always motivated and people are looking forward to do what the work has assigned. And at the same time, economic growth will be high, because those people who are working, they are having a good knowledge of that and highly motivated. So what his argument is that that kind of society is going to establish ideal state. Everything will be delivered, everything will be best. Rulers are best, soldiers are best, and agriculturalists, or you can say business class or trader class, are going to be best there. So this is how they are not going to exchange from one group to another group, and they will remain intact. Is it clear? Any question regarding this? You can criticize it, I will defend it. Anything what he is trying to say, you know, it won't work, please. Traders are allowed to hold property and family. One of the important reason, because their primary trait is desire. Their primary trait is appetite and desire. If they are deprived of that trait only, so why they will work? Here the primary trait of a soldier is the passion, is the spirit. So he will work for that, and he won't feel that they are having the family or they are having the money. The reason being is that in applied sense, without having money, without having family, they can also you can say utilize, or they can also live the similar life what they are enjoying. The difference is only they do not holding property. The difference is only they do not holding family. But this is not, they cannot be with the a family, or they cannot be with a woman. They could be with a woman, at the same time they could be with they could enjoy all the facilities of the state. It is a state that is going to help them with the property. Is it clear?
Sir, if Plato thinks that people in different classes are passionate about their work and that's why they won't switch over, then why did he come up with communism of property and family?
It is just because these thing could be a two diversion. Because okay, he is saying I love my work, but if I see this, there is a differentiation of the property. Still I love my work, but still I will prefer. This is what I asked yesterday, why people switch their work. It is just because of the money. It is not just because they love the work, because the property is one of the force.
But then they can switch over to trader class.
Why they will switch to the trader class? Because whatever the trader class is getting, they are getting it even without being a trader class. Okay, the difference is only this, ki trader class is holding money, but what is the utility of that money is eating. Look, at the time of the Plato, it was a simple economy. Maybe it is eating, holding good clothes, or living in the good place. The state is providing all these things too. So why you need to have a salary? Why you need to accumulate wealth? Because these people need to accumulate wealth, because they will never satisfied, even it will be provided by the state. The reason being is that their basic trait is desire. But their basic trait is not desire. Their basic trait is passion and reason. So if they are getting all these, they are not worried about anything. They will be completely into their work. Look, even in modern days also happens. There are who are those people who are passionate about their work, they really do not think about the money and the other things. But definitely it is a diversion for rest of the people. Sometimes even they get diverted. कुछ नहीं तो entire family is saying कि क्या किया तुमने, you did nothing. Rest of the people become so rich and wealthy. So these are a force that pushing a person to move to the other point. And now what Plato did, that eliminated both of this one. But he did not stop. He did not stop basically the fruits of those two institutions. What is the fruit of the property? If I say you have a money, what you will do with that money? Maybe eating good, traveling all around the world, having good cars, having bungalow. Suppose state allow you to do all these things, get it. Then why you are holding money? And he is also addressing another problem. He is saying that accumulation of the money for the two classes is always more than the third class. And it is one of the reason it lead to the corruption. Because the people what they use, they accumulate more than that. And he was aware of corruption in the rural class or in the soldiers class at that time. So he just want to address the problem of corruption also in both of the classes. And he is not saying you live in the minimum. He is not saying this. You live the way you want, but do your work because it is your dominant character.
There may be question of prestige and power because it is not addressing it.
Okay, how come prestige is associated with only one work?
Because you can influence people only if you are at a powerful.
Okay, I am simply saying this one. Prestige could come to the trader class because of their achievement in the trading. You become the wealthiest one, you get the prestige. Even in soldiers, those who are remarkably performing, and the same thing come. This, how come we say that only prestige is associated with any one class? The prestige was the social recognition. If you are going to be the best soldier, so you will be recognized, you will be prestigious in this. If you are going to be a big business, you will be recognized there. And when you are going to be a good administrator, you will be recognized at this. So there is a equal chance of prestige. even equal chance of money or wealth, but this equal chance for one, it is in form of accumulation, for the other it is in form of using it.
Sir, the distribution of resources among those trader sections is egalitarian or it is competitive?
It is completely competitive. It is not egalitarian that all traders will, as per their performance. But if it is going to be the best traders, there won't be much difference among them. There will be a difference. Again I am saying, you might be thinking in the modern context, okay, knowledge economy is higher than, just think about the Plato. We are talking about almost 2000 years back. The economy was very simple. The only two type of economic activity was there. Either it was agriculture or it was the trade. And both are considered to be prestigious of its own time. So his idea for that level was correct.
Don't you think this order will promote inefficiency in the society, because ultimate idea is to promote equality, but someone who would be a very good soldier who would be working more than another, ultimately you cannot reward him accordingly, because the ultimate idea is to provide equally.
Okay, look here, you are connecting efficiency with the reward. He is connecting efficiency with the character. It is not because you are going to become a best employee because you are going to get a promotion. It is your own passion. This is what you like to do. He is disconnecting this idea. This is all modern techniques. In public administration, you will study theory of management. There is a classical theory of management given by Frederick Taylor. He talks about such kind of motivations. But here this is not the motivation, because you have chosen the work what you are willing to do. So it is the work you do with the passion. You are passionate about that work. So how come this money or reward will be that? This reward will be in form of your fame, it will be in form of prestige that is closely associated with the performance. In fact, it will motivate to perform you.
Is the ruling class major part of state?
What is this major?
I mean, the state is controlling the ruling class, right?
No. What he is trying to say, there is a specialization of work. Ruling class is designed only to make policy programs, administrators are to implement those. When it comes to fight, when it comes to security, the entire department goes to the soldier class. When it comes to the production, it goes to them, where they are holding expertise there. And one more thing, why this reasonable, those who are holding reason, they will be trained along with this. So even they can understand. So when it comes to the policy making about them, they will be quite good. Policy making, but when it comes to implementing on the field, they are going to be very good performance, because they are holding expertise and they are trained in that way. So it is a combination of the three classes. It is a combination of the three classes.
Sir, when Plato talks about the natural trade, then actually most of the people, natural trades they shape up as and when through the experiences of life. So Plato, the first bifurcation in his policy of education takes place at a very early age. So maybe according to this, so the trader class is separated out of the other two. So might be through this policy of education, Plato might be losing some of the philosopher kings in the trader class. Is it possible?
Okay, so your argument is that it's difficult to identify the natural trait at the so early age. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Can we identify the real traits at the later age? I'm just asking this question.
Yes, sir. Maybe the people who, according to Plato, might seem not so capable. Maybe they turn out to be great learners at some point of time, maybe like 20 years of age. Because the bifurcation for trading class happens like 10 to 15 years, I'm not exactly sure. But then, not really.
Look, I guess if you go with the modern sciences, even it says that the development related to the what we say skills and your activities considered related to your mind, it happened with a limited age, and that is maximum that's range from 6 to 12 years or 15 years. And he is identifying that you are trained in something else and later on you are realizing, okay, I am not meant for it. It is you are realizing. And if the objective method will be to identify, got my point? So it will be a different. I am not denying this fact that the method, education method of the Plato is a foolproof and it cannot be wrong. But this was the scheme. He believed that we can easily identify the character there. I agree with this point of the Plato, that the identification of the character could be done easily in the early stages, that cannot be in the later stages. In the later stages, basically the people switch their job because earlier they choose the incorrect things because of the, what we say, social pressure, not understanding, having, and people say a lot of things. I chosen this carriage, everyone was choosing this one, I was not having a proper guidance. There are such kind of arguments are there. But once it is someone else is identifying what is a true character, and again method is proper education, there is a proper experimentation. So there is a rare chance in the identification, but still we accept this one, it cannot be the 100% foolproof plan. It is the 100% foolproof plan.
Sir, should we consider three of them are equal?
Normally, lot of critics write, three of them are not equal because primacy has been given to the philosopher king. But in his way, in the way of Plato's thinking, he never said that these three are unequal or they are unequal. What Plato, those who made a commentary on that, they made them in a hierarchy because of the work what they are doing. But now, just making for the clearance. Now, it is in the modern times we have decided this work is a superior and this work is a inferior. But actually at the time of Plato, he is just assigning this is the work. Now, those who have criticized, they believe that working as a rulers, working as an administrator is a superior job than the working as a agriculturalist. Now, if we just clubbing, just to make you understand, dignity of labor given by Gandhiji. He talks about the same, work is work. It is not all about you can give it a hierarchical division. Now, second point, if the work is bringing money, then people think, okay, it is a hierarchy. Here the work is not bringing money. Third point, when it comes to that, some work are more respectable than the others. In the society, every work is equally respectable, then there will be no hierarchy. But lot of critics says that this division of work is actually in a hierarchical way and there is a domination of one class over the other. I am adding few more points here. If you see this justice theory of Plato, it is not only a specialized work or a specialized society, they are expert of their field, but they are working in the harmony and coordination too, to go for the maximum output or maximum efficiency. Interesting part, Plato was the one who never said that women cannot be part of the any class. You can find out Plato termed by many as a first feminist. Although criticism is that he is an accidental feminist, but there are people who say that he was a first feminist because even 2000 years back he did not discriminated among the women. Women could be part of this, women could be part of this, women could be part of this. Women could be part of any of the group basically. This is another important feature, his theorem of justice. So you can find out his, if I say ideal state ruled by philosopher king, ideal state where the harmony of three classes, they are working in the coordination. Ideal state is a specialized or expert state. It provide or it treats equal everyone beyond gender. Can you say all this is the features of his ideal state? This is what the feature ruled by philosopher King. No discrimination on the basis of gender. It reflects the harmony of the three classes, or it works in the coordination of all these classes. It is a highly specialized state. It is highly specialized state. This is what the feature of the ideal state.
Plato considering these three classes only, or he's saying there are only these three classes available in the society? There is none other.
Actually, he talks about only three classes. He says there could be a range of the economic activity, but that range of the economic activity will be all associated with only one character. So maybe you can say कि those who are soldier class, so here he is saying, just to make you understand, maybe somebody work as a police, somebody work as a policeman, somebody is a soldier, somebody is in the spying business, or you can find, but the common element is the same, the nature of the work in that direction. So once the person who is having reason, so there will be one philosopher king, administrators, ministers, maybe diplomats, there will be a range of the work is there. So he is saying this is all associated with the character. Now you can say there could be a 5 classes, but on the basis of the basic character, there will be 3 classes what he identified. I guess you understood this point.
In which class will you consider the man who doesn't want to be ruled, I would say, as an anarchist?
Okay. Now the big question is that on what basis the idea is not to be ruled, because here the meaning of the ruling is providing a specific type of service. This is not something that a kind of subjugation. Here the meaning is, if you say you are ruled by a ruler class, so actually the ruler class is making best policy for you. So here it is not the subjugation, it is the policy announcement is there, and this policy announcement is in your favor only. So that is not in modern types of being ruled basically. Anything else? Why Plato will be the king? Why Plato will be the king? No, he said that you need to treat people, you need to train people. So he has taken the initiative of training people. He hasn't taken the initiative of you can say, like he never willing to become a philosopher king. In fact, he failed to train also. He tried to train, because you know his education theory for philosopher king is up to the age of 52 years. I mean, so just think about that. From your childhood days, you have to study up to the 52 years. So there was a one king who called him to train his son to become a philosopher king. So when he started training him and started, don't do this, don't, I mean, because you are a philosopher king, so many restrictions in training that, then he decided to kill his master only. If this guy will train me, my life will go west for the 52 years. And anyhow came to know, okay, he is planning, then he left it. He tried 2 times in the entire life to trade a prince, and every time he failed and he has to leave that country, because both tried to kill him basically. As long as this person will live. So this is ideal state, this is ideal state, this is what his theorem of justice, this is what his theory of education. Now I am giving some specific thing about his theory of education, please. Look, if you go with his theoretical interpretations, you can say, but other perspective says not is everyone, you identify only those who are holding reason. So those who are holding reason, they have the opportunity, but again it is in a theoretical format. That's why I am regularly saying when he tried to implement the idea, so which king is going to leave his own claim over a throne? So this was his idea. So simply he says that okay, if a king is there, it is already decided he is going to be a prince. So, better to train him to become a prince. Whatever the education system related to the exploration of the expression of the reason is there, you go for this one. He has given it in an ideal format, that should be the format, and this format never get implemented. There is not a single king was trained by Plato. So, it is a kind of, just a lot of criticism that it is an impractical idea. It cannot be ever materialized on the ground level. Now, this is again a discussion of debate. He never got the opportunity to implement it, because he get the opportunity to train. But you can draw a lot of good conclusions. Look, first about education, जो just यहीं पे 2-3 पॉइंट लिखिएगा आपने जो स्ट्रक्चर बनाया है about this education. Again, I believe this is a classic thing he talk about. His scheme of education is a compulsory education and everyone has to attend it. Just think about that. Compulsory education and everyone has to attend it. Second important point, it will be provided by state. Now, we passed 86 constitutional amendment law here. This, what you say, compulsory education, compulsory primary education, elementary education. He said the same thing 2000 years back. He was talking about it should be state who should provide compulsory education, compulsory and elementary education to everyone. That was a high progressive idea of the time. I mean, nobody can think of that. At that time, this education was only in the hand of the few, and he is talking about state must provide education to the all sections of the society. You need not to pay a single penny. It is a state sponsored education system, and it is equally available to the all section. A person who belong to, for example, a poor section, he is not as rich, even he has an option, he has a chance to get educated. He has a chance to get educated. Next one, he was the one who agreed to provide education to the women also. Again, you cannot find examples in the entire history where women were open for education. Just think about medieval era, uske baad ka hai. I am talking about the ancient time, but he was the one. So, elementary and compulsory education for all classes. For all classes, education for equal education for women too. Education will be provided by state. Education will be provided by state. It is just because he did not excluded women. So, if we are saying not excluded women, it simply means that everybody has a right to get education. Totally based on? It seems to be, yes, because he is identifying. So, actually he is not denying that. Look at this idea, he is rejecting the idea that there are no one who is not holding merit. He is saying that everyone is holding merit, you need to train them in a direction. So, once they will be trained, they will be allowed to be part of the system basically. Okay. Basic idea of the education is clear to everyone? Later I'll go with this specific one, I'll make you to write also. Now here, let's talk about this part. Communism of property first. Communism of property first. Now, his argument about the communism of property, it's simply that he identified property. He identified property as a evil. I identify property as a evil which can divert people for the first two classes. For the first two classes. And he is recommending that the first two class can't hold property. Can't hold property. First two class can't hold property. This is first point. Second, state will take care of their all basic needs, or you can say all of their needs, starting from food, clothes and other kind of needs. Here he is also talking about that people from both of the classes should live in groups. Live in groups. I mean, in their respected places, what is allotted to them. In their respected places, what is allotted to them. So, it is the state that will take care of the needs of everyone. He also talk about they should eat together and hold a common kitchen. They should eat together and hold common kitchen. Now, what is the flaws of this theory of property? Is there any flaw of this theory of property? So, his main purpose of this theory of property, as I said, that it is one of the major, you can say, element, it is one of the major reason for switching off, is one of the major is switching or diverting classes from one class to another class. With the communism of property, he is trying to address corruption or problem of corrupt methods to earn money. Corrupt methods to earn money. Third point, he believed people accumulate more than they use. People accumulate more than they use. So, with the theorem of property or with his communism of property, he trying to make first two classes efficient, highly focused for their work, efficient and focused for their work. This is the ultimate purpose of his theorem of property. So, it is not something like that he does not want that people should have a property. He understood the negative aspect of the property. That is why he is identifying a path. Without holding the property, still you can use or enjoy or utilize property, and at the same time it can address many problems. What? नहीं भाई, अभी तक तो नहीं आया है. There is only one question like comparing Plato theory of communism and Marx theory of communism. This question has been asked, but this could be a new type line of thinking. So, no, I didn't say a drawback. I simply says basically ki there's this property can divert people, basically. Property can divert people, and he was looking forward that it should not divert to the people. And money, I mean in order to make money people can become corrupt. So he want to address the problem of corruption and you can say illegal means to acquire money for the two classes. That is why he eliminated completely the idea of the property,
Sir,
Huh.
someone from holding class can switch to trader class after some time. Like,
No. So the question is that why he'll switch? The first question will come, why he'll switch? There should be some reason, na?
there is no more interest in.
Now, isn't it contradictory if it is a primary character that they lose the interest? He is trying to address all these things only. Na? He is saying if people will doing the work not because of their interest, not because of their passion, not because of their primary trait, because of the certain other reasons like making money, or at that time if there is a hierarchy of the job for prestige and all, so there is a possibility that people will switch. He is trying to address, if it is over there, then people neither are efficient nor perform their duty properly. And the resultant what he has seen, if such people will become ruler, Socrates will continue to die. This is what he was worried about.
After 10, 20 years, you want to do something new.
Look, I am just answering from the Plato perspective. Maybe he wanted to do something new, but Plato says he will never wanted to do something new. He will do new what he is doing. Maybe he will get switched from a police work to a soldier work, from soldier work to a spying work, or started making training to the police or army officers. There could be something kind of switching work will be there, or even he could be involved in making arms and ammunition, or will be part of guiding that, but it is not possible that he will become a trader class. क्या? देखिए हमने किताबों में ही पढ़ा है नहीं किताबों में ही पढ़ा है and it has been, I mean you can say justified by certain, I mean we do not find any pictures that Plato is or such kind of industry is going on, so there is no evidence of that from where you can say it happened or not. Look, मैं जितना समझता हूँ मैं किसी प्लेटो की कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरी की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैंने बताया ना कि कुछ नहीं ला पाया, सिर्फ बोलता रह गया. This he has written it in his book format and he tried to make such changes, but it created a lot of trouble. But what he suggested at that time, you can look upon कि once you become the administrator and you find out something interesting out of that, you can think of to implement it, isn't it? अरे हो सकती है, लेकिन आप उसकी इमेजिनेशन को अगर मैच कर जा रहे हो, आपको लग रहा है कि yes, fine, he is right, maybe some of you agree, some of you don't agree, maybe later on lot of principle has been made, lot of theories has been made. They started thinking what he is saying it is incorrect or correct, lot of discussions are there. Let me tell you a famous statement. The entire history of political theory are with pro-Plato or anti-Plato, but it is not beyond Plato. Whatever he has said, it was discussed throughout the era. He was the one who has given the idea of, I am saying gender equality, who has given the idea of specialization. Look at in modern theories, the idea of specialization first come from here. He was the one who talked about that as like education theories, that the state should give the education, everyone has a right to get the education. This all theorem has come from his own thinking, which has been later on evolved by the different school of thought, different theories. So this is what his greatest contribution. I mean, thinking in such a way 2000 years back, I believe this is itself is a great. I mean 50 years back In India, our forefathers continue to think in a different term.
Sir, even women's rights, women get
That's
voting
true.
rights in 1902.
Even in modern days in India, there are a lot of people who are typically patriarch and completely criticize the women education and their exposure. And he said the equality about 2000, 2000 years back. In India also it was there. Again, I am not denying that Indian culture is like that. Maybe how come this evil practice has come to the Indian? Don't get offended. Don't get offended. I am not criticizing the Indian culture. I am not criticizing the Indian culture. I am just saying this. His things and his way of thinking was far ahead of his own time. After this, the entire medieval age, dark age has come. And if you see the Renaissance, the real meaning of the Renaissance is a revival of the old Greek thoughts. This is what the meaning. So they again went back what he has said basically. So it is something, he was the one who set the ground for the modernism, modernity of the day. From Renaissance, it get evolved basically.
At this time, he is the monarch, sir.
At that time.
How did the state come from? How did the state come from? So obviously the state will be under the king, sir.
Okay, now point is this, how you identify state? I am just asking. State is a thing. State is actually. So even a state is not only a democratic state. A state could be a monarchical state too, isn't it? So at that time when he is talking about the state, he was talking about that organized territory where people are living involved in a specific type of organized economic activities, and there prevails certain regulation, rules and laws. That is what the state is talking about. But it was not ruled democratically, it was ruled by monarchical states. Look, the modern state is different. It come only after 1648, Treaty of Westphalia, when the idea of the sovereignty has come. Before that, the state was there, but it was more or less in form of organized entity where people live and they perform certain activities, economic activities, they live in a particular society. So the state at that time was in a different term what we talk about the modern state basically.
By the death of Socrates, Plato, it's said that we started to hate
Democracy, yes.
So, why to hate democracy? It was the monarchy.
I will come to this point, why he ate democracy, because he believed that in democracies virtuous people are not get elected. That is why he ate, and he believed that in democracy people, everyone who get the right to vote, and they vote as per their own interest, because they are not the virtuous one. So the resultant is what you find. Look at in India. When I will teach you Aristotle, you will find it quite clear why he hates democracy. Look, he is talking about living in the groups. It just because it creates a bonding among the people who are staying together. It helped to the exchange of ideas and you can say a spread of knowledge of their own specialized area. That is why he is preferring to be. And one more thing, this is very much like, this is an unorthodox way of thinking when you say that, okay, you are a soldier and you want to live alone. Normally those who are doing the similar type of work, they prefer to live together. It led to the competition also, it led to the cooperation also. So there is something beyond, bigger than that, what he was looking forward. It is not a mandatory, because if the state is arranging your fooding and lodging, so technically you are living together basically. Should I move? Please.
Having the philosopher king, do you think it is really possible to attain an ideal state?
First thing, I don't think anything. I just, I am just explaining what Plato thinks. You want to make some conceptual clarity, I can do this. And don't ask for my views. Please. What? No, all are from the same class. They are not from the multiple classes. I am talking about living together. If they are living in barracks where they are working as a soldiers, when they are working as a police, they are living together. You can modern even habitat is designed around this point. You can find out those who are working as a soldiers, their places are different. Those who are working as the police officers, their places are different. Yes, your question.
So the great things about them, like all the times they have had the preconditions required for the philosopher kings already. Like for example, as Alexander the Great, he learned reason and philosophy from Aristotle and all those kind of things. So they were actually the philosopher kings, but when they came into power, the unjust, brutal behavior actually started. So how can isn't it our concept? I mean, getting a philosopher king would guarantee ideal state.
Okay, again, you are just asking that ki, I mean, what Plato is saying, it is going to be happen or not. An example says that ki it rarely happen. So again, I am saying this. If Plato will criticize Alexander, then definitely he will say he was not a virtuous man. His training was incomplete. He hadn't studied properly. You can criticize from his perspective. That is why once he become the king, he utilize it. There is a one perspective of saying this. Again and again I am saying, this is just a theoretical model, a philosophical model given by him. And lot of system are inspired by this type of system. This is what I am conveying. I am not saying whether it could be completely implemented or not. Maybe or maybe not. Maybe some part of it has been implemented, maybe some part of it has not been implemented. Let me complete first the communism, then I will come. And in fact, once we will complete Marxist communism, then we will be in a better position to compare it basically. Now, when it comes to communism of family, now the purpose of communism of family is the same. He believed that holding private family, create a diversion. It might force people to take corrupt methods to earn money or to function or perform. So his concern is that family is a diversion. And then he says that first two classes, either it's a guardian class or it is a soldier class, must not be allowed to hold family. Now the next question arises, why they should not be allowed to family? This is the reason. Now they are not holding families, then how their reactions will be there, how they are going to understand. Now here he is saying this, all the men from the two classes and all the women of the two classes are allowed to interact freely. There won't be a forced sexual relationship, but it could be with the consent. And anyone with could be companion or partner of the anyone. And even he did not restrict, there could not be multiple people, there could not be multiple partners. His argument is that institution of family is mainly made up for two important things. He said this is the sexual satisfaction and the idea of continuing of the next generation. His argument is that both could be continued even without forming families, forming families. So why there is a need to hold a family? Now if you see, he is not denying that a particular man or a woman cannot stay together. What he is saying that they cannot make a private family. Now, I am saying this one, suppose there is a man and there is a woman, they like so much to each other and they do not want to make other partners, both can remain together as long as they wish. This is not something a forced one. Now they have to go with the other man or other woman. He is simply saying this one, there will be no restriction over them. There will be no restriction over them. There will be a free choices. If somebody is saying this one, he is forcing everyone to go for multiple partners, no. He is simply saying that there should be independence in choosing of the partners and there should be no restrictions even if it is required to switching from one partner to another partner. So this is how he said, this is the family who mainly go in the two lines, or the utility of the family. What he identified is just two, sexual interactions, and he identified carrying on the next generation. So even it is possible without making families or without going for marriages. Is it? ठीक है? नहीं इनसे पूछ रहा हूँ मैं. हाँ कल आप ब्लड लाइन की बात कर रहे थे. This is just asking this. So here every man and woman hold the right to become parents. Now the difference is this: they can become parent, but it is the state who is going to nurture their kids. Now you can say, so they will feel affection and love about their kids. Now he intentionally push it like this. Okay, if there is no private families, if there is no permanent partners, so it will be equally difficult to identify who is the father and who is the mother. Maybe one can identify the mother, but who cannot identify who is the father. So what he put the argument, like all people or all men will be father of all children and all mothers will be mother of all children. So he talk about community parenting. So this is how state will nurture those kids. And definitely, if you don't know who is your son, go and pick any of the kid. It's something like that. Express love. So we can't say that a single kid is going to get a lot of love from all fathers. A single kid is going to love of all mothers. Isn't it a better system? क्या नहीं एक्सेप्ट अंदर से नहीं कर पा रहे हैं आप लोग, लग रहा है. क्या प्री कंडीशनल इशू है? Okay, he raised a very important question. फिर अगर आप ऐसे कहें कि okay, let me tell you, Plato was actually thinking in this line. So his argument was not that there will be disproportion. He always think that it should be more or less in proportion. And look, with the idea of the consent, basically, if numbers are even not equal, it is not proportion also, then even there won't be a problem, basically. Look, maybe we cannot imagine today such kind of ideas, but at that time and maybe in upcoming times, you can find out, like these days people started living together, live-in relationships. It is just a one format of that, isn't it? What about one night stands? This could be in that direction. What he was talking about, that there should not be wrong reason to form the family. There should be right reason, and he did not identify any correct reason to form the family. And in fact, still we form the family, it is on one hand controlling. आज की debate में है. If you go with the radical feminists, they believe that with the idea of the forming families, there is sexual control over the women's body. and men is not restricted in a similar way. So technically it is liberating both of them, it is ensuring both should go with their choices, and forming a family for this purpose is the waste of the family. So let allow people to live together the way they want to, and family should not become a diversion for it. This is what he is trying to say, and that is why he has given the his theorem of communism of wives or communism of family. Any other argument against this idea? What? It will be the same. It is not only the, look, there is a different book write in different way. There are few good criticism or good commentaries on Plato. They says the kids nurtured by the state will go through the similar test, and again there will be division. It is not something that like the son of a philosopher king will become the philosopher king. It's not like that. So there could be action. Maybe someone who is not that much having the reason, he is having the spirit, or someone is having the appetite, so he can come for the other class. But the trader class is allowed to hold family. It is only for the two class. And again you can say why? Reason is the same, desire. Because that is family and money is the motivating point for the third class. For these two classes, this cannot be the motive. Their work, their passion. So why to hold the family? Is there any other reason? I asked the same thing last class. Is there any reason to form family? Is there any other reason you find to form family? ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है प्लेटो का, and it has to be evaluated by many people. What? No, he is not stopping to do that. Technically, he is not saying this. As I have given the example, if a one man and one woman want to be only with the one partner, there is no such restriction. The only thing is private family. But actually, it is with the choice. Na? There is no force. ऐसा थोड़ी कह रहा है कि now the period of loving one person is 6 months and now you have to switch on the other. No such restrictions.
But the child is not made from us, sir. He cannot identify who is my son or who is the son.
So why to identify? Again, the same question is. हाँ कैसे सोचें ये बताइए. मतलब ये नाम कैसे जिंदा, ये अच्छा है कि अगर यही नहीं पता रहे कि इनमें से कौन सा मेरा नाम है तो ये तो ज्यादा अच्छा है ना कि किसी भी नाम को क्लेम कर दो कि ये मेरा ही नाम है. Isn't it a better idea? हाँ, तो मैं यही कह रहा हूं इसको खत्म कर दो ना. प्लीज द पॉइंट इज दैट ये बेटर आइडिया नहीं है कि आपको जो लगे कि जो ज्यादा अच्छा काम कर रहा है उसको कह दो यही मेरी क्लैन है. इज द बेस्ट आइडिया एंड यू ऑलवेज हैव ऑप्शन टू स्विच योर क्लैन ऑल्सो. इट्स ऑलवेज द बेटर आइडिया. व्हाई टू आइडेंटिफाई और स्टिक टू अ वन क्लैन? Let it be one person today and next day you say someone else is there. No, the point is the same one. We are talking about this personal glory or the continuation of the name. So you can claim anyone. He is continuing or she is continuing my name. What's wrong with this one? And from where this idea has come, next generation. And again I am saying this one, it is more or less a social construct rather than a biological construct. Now I am using a logic. It is more or less a social construct rather than a biological construct. हिंदी फिल्में देखिए बहुत क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल्स हैं कि the son it born somewhere else, it was raised by someone else. Then now the other person feel he is my mother, she is my mother and he is my father. So technically it is not a biological binding, but it is more or less social construct and emotional one. So what we think today that could not be on the line of the biology. that is mainly on the line of the social, what the society we create and how we understand this one. So he is just going beyond that.
Don't you feel that this arrangement would stop people from harboring the feeling of loyalty towards someone? Because you can say that this would help them being loyal towards the state, but the state is a very largest, like on a larger scale to be considered.
Again, my question is this, how it is, look, if loyalty is a personal character, one could be loyal for a long time, isn't it? Even if it is not a character of a one person. So how you are just saying this one, ki make them loyal, putting them into the family? This is what you are trying to say. Because being loyal is purely a character. So technically he is opening the gate, ki okay, let it be true testing of that one. Why making a family and forcing someone to become loyal? Isn't it? So where he is not saying to become loyal, he is saying become loyal.
And to what extent does state replace the concept of family? Like, because in a family you have something which is unbounded, which can be unchallenged at several times. But the state would be providing these privileges to a certain extent only, the basic ones, I guess.
Again, if you can define in the words that I can answer. Like if you are saying unchallenged, what is unchallenged? As we have discussed it earlier, when it comes to the emotional bonding, then again the emotional bonding are with the friends also. Again I said when it comes to the support, it is a similar thing. Look, again I am saying the same thing. In the family, people support each other because of the biological reasons or because of the idea of the family as a social construct. If it will be replaced by a bigger group, don't you think that the similar feeling move to that one? Now, I am just giving the example from the Indian tradition only. When there used to be a joint families, in a single family, 30 people, 40 people are there. And now there is a nuclear family. And the logic works for both, there is a bonding factor. So, it is more or less the social value, social belief, social construct. How can you define it around the idea of the biology basically? Argument is the same. So why not the emotional satisfaction come from your friends or with whom you are living on? And even it allowed to choose your partners. So again, if some kind of attachment is there, it is not neglected, it is not prohibited, it is not banned. It is, I believe that it is a more open system which allow people to live the way they are willing to live. No, technically state from by birth only, the state will take care of the kids and their nurturing will be in the similar way. So they will also join our classes. हम पढ़ेंगे इसके बारे में, this concept of eugenics. Test will be equal. Again I am saying there is a diversion, like few of the books, because all secondary books are there, few books says ki no, the test will be only for the 2 classes, few books says ki no, there is a test for all kids that is getting birth. So a person who is from the trader class, even they have an opportunity to move basically. That again it is a debated and contested idea. कैसे, how population will decline? This is the reason. And do you think that, I mean, this is not the reason of being mother. This is not the reason of being mother, ki they should know who is the kid. This is not the reason. Please write down few points. Communism of wives or communism of families में. no private families will be allowed. First two classes will be deprived of private families, but not the third class. Point 2. All men and women are living separately in groups as per their classes. They are living separately. Next point. All men and women are living separately in different groups. Okay, in notes the term has been written like there will be a common husband and there will be common wives. So this is not something official marriage. There is no marriage institution. This is like common partners. So just to make the clarity, it has been said there will be a common husbands and there will be common wives. So make it very clear, this term is basically common partners for men as well as women. Next one, all children born out of such relations will be nurtured by state. State will provide their education and training. Next point, no parents will be aware of their kids nor kids will be aware of about their parents. ठीक है, this is what his theorem of communism of family and communism of no, it is not an intra class. I mean, for the first two classes there is no differentiation. There is no differentiation like the first, but this is not allowed for the third class. There is nothing like people from the first two class they can think of what we say a people from the third class. This is not possible. So it is only confined for the two classes. Third class are allowed to have their family, they are allowed to have wives, kid, and their lifestyle will be entirely different. Again, how he could have a wife, partner, from there is a possibility, but again actually the idea of that one ki if the family institution won't be over there, so there won't be a particular partner. So it is like one class can freely interact with the other class, they can interact within their own class also. There is no such restrictions basically.
But for the child, for first 1-2 years are very crucial and they need of their mother. Then the mother can identify their children gradually.
How, I mean, if you are saying that the kids need their mother, state will arrange mothers. You are talking. Why state can't arrange mothers? I mean, where is the problem? You are thinking, I guess, from the emotional perspective basically. Plato is not emotional at all. He is more worried about the efficiency of the state. properly functioning of the state. He is looking forward to hold an ideal state. That is why you can say this one, he is ignoring emotions, but again he says this is all social construct. This is not the real one basically. What? Isn't it? It is all real. अच्छा पूछो चलो. क्या चीज ना हो? हाँ हाँ अरे तो भाई फैमिली आप पहले दो क्लास में, फैमिली का मतलब क्या? If the person want to, he has only one restraint. If a person want to live with a particular woman, this is not restricted. A person can live with a woman. Now you are saying this one, he want his own kid. So the entire state kid is his own kid. So now, I mean, like your family is complete. Technically, he is saying there is no formalization of the private family. He is not saying this one. If someone is looking forward a permanent partner, go ahead, that is not restricted. Chaliye, thank you to all of. I'll continue tomorrow.